All right. All right. Hello, and welcome to the She-Hulk Attorney at Law After Show here on JLJ Media. I'm the JLJ of JLJ Media, James Lott Jr., and I'm here with two of my three co-stars who will be talking about episode 3, The People versus Emil Blonsky. Both of them, one you've just getting to learn, the other one, you know him. It is Anthony Tripazzi and Frank Moran. I guess I'm something over here. Hi, gentlemen.
Look at this. Well, it's so great to see your two handsome faces yet again.
We had a good role model in you, Frank.
Oh, well, get out of here.
I mean, I could if I could wear an X-Men hat like you, man.
Well, no, somebody just casually flaunted that Spider-Man shirt right there.
Oh yeah,
I saw that. Look at that.
Look at that.
That represents nicely.
Hi, you guys. And if people come in the chat room, come on in. Super chats are enabled, so be kind, rewind. Hello, Kirsten. Yes, you are here in the chat room. It's great. We are here to talk about She-Hulk, Attorney at Law, of course. John Dunphy is still doing his Big Brother after show. And if you do Big Brother, you know it's a big deal right now tonight. So I'm very jealous of him at the moment. But we're about our show, She-Hulk. But he may pop in. It depends. It just depends on his timing and all that stuff. He's going to try. So if he doesn't, we of us can handle this, right, guys? We can handle this.
Of course.
Yes, we can handle the mean green, the big green woman. We can handle her.
Yeah.
Okay. So, guys, thank you so much for making this after show a huge hit on our network. Once again, I'm always surprised, not because we are good, but you guys actually are tuning in. We're glad you're tuning in. You can find us audio and video everywhere under She-Hulk Attorney at Law after show. I have to address something really quick, gentlemen, because it was brought to my attention several times. So here's the deal.
Okay.
We were told you guys have no women on your after show. It's a women-led show.
Yes.
So my response to that is men can do a women-led show without a woman on it, just like women can do a male-led show without men on it. But I want to tell you, it wasn't without trying. I just want to say, getting people to commit to doing every week of a show is not easy. So some people they're busy, at things going on. So I have to find who can do it, and who's going to be here. It's just literally that simple.
Mm-hmm.
But I did put out feelers for women to come on occasionally and give their 2 cents. First, it was crickets. So there you go.
Yeah.
But now I got a couple people. So over the next couple of weeks, not tonight, but next couple of weeks, we're gonna have a female come in with us and tell us their opinion of it. Also, Frank and Anthony.
I knew my spot was going to be taken at some point.
It's nice.
The ratings,
you're great. You're a last man in.
Can I wear like a wig or something? Just like go and drag?
No. Well, actually, I might sing that. Well, no, you're on the show.
Antoinette.
There's gonna be a female in a couple of times. A couple have responded, so they will come on and tell their opinion also. Yeah. But I just want to say, I feel like we can still do a great job talking about it from our perspective. I looked out there are no female-led shows talking about She-Hulk. So
why not?
Don't tell you guys. I really don't tell you guys. I know women are watching it, I'm sure. I mean, I don't know. She's watching it. My sister's watching it. They're women. That last time I checked. So they're watching it.
Let's get Kirsten Marie on here. She's
excited. She's excited. Yeah. So, I did hear your concern, and just we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens there. Also, I did do a mini episode on guys. You can look like She-Hulk. Urban Decay put out a eyeshadow line called the She-Hulk Inspired line. It's all these greens and browns and earth tone eyeshadows. So check out that episode here on JLJ Media.
That was fascinating, by the way. I had no idea until I saw that video, James. Like, I wasn't gonna buy some, but I don't know now. I don't know.
I know I might buy some too. I don't want to wear makeup, but we'll buy it.
Why not? For the show.
It's all for the show. Yeah. We're gonna get Frank an eyeshadow. How's that?
Yes.
All right.
Green eyeshadow, Frank.
I mean, there's really nothing that could help this face, but anything that helps cover it to make it more palatable for other people to look at is welcome.
So that's how we get those things out. That's the housekeeping. That's what I want to tell you those things. Okay. So this is episode 3 of this first season. So we're third in. I believe it's 9 episodes, I believe. So I'm gonna give my opinion first, kind of overall, what I'm feeling at the moment. Now, I want to tell you guys, I like the show. Like I can enjoy it. It's actually fun.
Here it comes.
It's coming. However, comma, as Tony would say. No, I do like the show. I mean, it's enjoyable. I mean, it makes me laugh, enjoyable. This episode was the first one I felt like it was a little too winky, a little too silly, fluffy. And I'm curious as it goes on if so apparently this is an all-out comedy. That's what it seems like. And so I'm leaning into that and going, that's what I said, I enjoy it. I loved watching it. I enjoyed it. I have no problem with that. But I'm like, this show's a little too, I don't know. It's a little too light. I was wondering if there will be any moments of just something, a little of substance. That's what I'm missing a little bit. I'm missing a little bit of substance. But it seems like it's very slapsticky, jokey, which is fine. I love those kind of shows. But even those kind of comedies like I was thinking what show. I'm trying to think what show it was. I used to watch a show called Happy Endings. I used to watch a show called Don't Trust the Bee in Apartment 23. All these shows, they didn't last that long. But they were all kind of jokey, winky. But they had some moments where you're like, okay, I see something. And I know, but I felt that this episode, I just felt like it was very light. Very, very light. So now, and hi Hayward, hi everybody. So now let me ask the fellas their overall thoughts of the episode. And we'll start with Anthony because I see he's sitting there chomping bits. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm really glad you actually said that. I thought it was going to be the a-hole of the show because I was all in for the first episodes, and this one was to put it. You already summed it up. It was silly. It was just a lot of silliness, and like I mean, I like. This show is a comedy, and I think some people take it too seriously. That's why they haven't, but yes. it just got like, there's funny. And then there was like cute, being too cute and silly. And it just kept going on. The one thing I think that was kind of disappointing was that I liked, but then it was so weird was that she, the fourth wall gets broken and she says, hey, don't forget whose show this is.
I like that.
Which is great. No, but great, right? I love that. I loved it. But what was weird was like, she took a backseat to everybody in this. Megan the Stallion, right? Yes. Megan the Stallion.
The Stallion.
Long, abominable. I mean, everybody ran the show, even a whole different.
Even Dennis.
Yeah.
They did, yes.
So I was like, the only person that didn't jump up was Bruce. But it was kind of a weird way to put that out because I was like, yeah, you own this show. And then I was like, oh, maybe not. And
Frank and I have been there before. We know how that feels.
Yeah.
And Frank, you know what I'm talking about, Frank. No, the parts that were the fourth wall parts were all. You notice they're all connected to the actual show. It's like, see, yes. We're connecting the A and B story.
I did like that at one
point. Yeah. They were cute, and they were cute. But you're right. It was just very much like, oh, did Dennis just give me an idea? Oh, what I was like. So I mean, there was cute. It was very cutesy. Okay, Frank Moran, your turn.
I would see like this one because I feel like the first 2 episodes are all about getting everything in place, establishing the status quo. And then this one you would see is almost like the pilot episode for what you would imagine She-Hulk Attorney at Law would be, where you've got your A and B stories and you get to see a little bit more of the other people in the law firm also have storylines of their own. So it's not specifically She-Hulk centric. But I will reluctantly, not reluctantly, but I feel like it wasn't quite there for me yet either. It was like the elements are there, but yes. I just thought it needed a little. I wanted to be a little bit tighter in the writing in some moments, a little bit more, as you were saying, James, the drama. Just things that I've yet to see, like Jennifer Walters, at least in the Marvel universe, is held as a really remarkable lawyer.
Okay.
And so I'm wanting to see that in action here too. And so I mean maybe you need like a David E. Kelly. I'm thinking like Boston Legal.
Oh, yeah.
James Spader doing his closing arguments there.
Yeah.
I mean, those are some of the best parts of the episode because just getting to watch James Spader just deliver the closers on those episodes were great. And so when you see Jennifer Walters up on the stand defending Emil Blonsky, those are those moments where you want to just see like, yes, I want the writing to really deliver for Jennifer Walters to really show like, yes, this woman is formidable, even just as herself. She's great. She-Hulk is awesome, but take that away, and she's still a formidable person. And I just felt like the writing for that was lacking,
especially when she's in her Jen form, because then it shows like she doesn't need the She-Hulk thing. I would have loved that same powerful moment, the closing argument.
Yeah. Here it says, or Dick Wolf. Well, yeah, the Law and Order stuff. I think it's the same thing here. Where the law, the first is the law, the order. It's the police stuff. Then it's the law at the second half. Because exactly. I just felt like I almost wish Wong didn't come back. I almost wish he didn't come back, and she would have had to really pull out of her trick book. Get him off.
Yeah.
We'll get that sounds so dirty. We'll get all that in a second. We'll get to all that in a second. But that's what I'm saying. There was like things that you're right, Frank. The elements are there. Like I said, it's there. But just missing. I need a little more substance. There's just something that just like because even here's a good example. I was trying to find an example, but Frank just got me. Give me a good example. Will and Grace. There was Will, the A story always, and then Karen and Jack were the B story most of the time, and they were very the comical, over the top. But they always had some kind of serious tinge that still kept them as Karen and Jack. But it was like there was something that would be like, ooh, okay, got it. Like it added something. You know what I mean? Like it added. There was like it still kept the slapsticky comedy part of it, but the characters grew as a result. And one of the things I always said on Will and Grace, Will always dressed very tight clothes. He was the heterosexual acting one, and Jack always dressed very conservative, and he was the over the top one. I always thought that was a very cute choice that they did. And it's like that's what I'm saying with her and her Jen form. So it's kind of, she's like when she's She-Hulk, she's Jack and Karen. When she's in the Jen form, she's Will and Grace. She's like she's that's her.
Oh, so interesting.
So for me, I really decide to dissect these things. And I was just like, I just really thought I almost said, I wish Wong didn't come back for some reason. She had to really pull out of her lawyer toolbox and still get him off.
Yeah.
Somehow. That's me. We'll get into all that. We'll get into all that right now. Okay, so first of all, seriously, I look at these things and I dissect them. Hey, Hayward, what the F are you talking about, Hayward? What's going on? James, this episode, Hayward's always trying to tell me something. Hey, James, this episode and might tie into the Thunderbolts movie. You guys, I don't know what that means. What does that mean?
It's a I don't know what it means. It's a new movie that's coming out based on a series from Marvel where the premise was in the first issue you thought there was a new set of heroes that were replacing the Fantastic Four and the Avengers, who at the time were missing in the Marvel universe. And so it's like, hey, we are new heroes to fill the void. And then what you find out at the end of the first issue is that they're really the masters of evil, these villains that you've known in the Marvel universe for a long time, but to be able to fool everybody, they're pretending to be heroes. That was at least the first iteration of that. So whether they do, it's spun off in various permutations after that, but that's the initial version. They're doing a movie now with Marvel, so I guess it all depends on, the characters are going to put in there, whether they're going to kind of go to that, we're tricking everybody, we're villains pretending to be heroes, or it's just a bunch of ramshackle like villains and ne'er-do-wells that are all banded together for some reason.
Okay. Well, I learn from Frank all the time. Okay, I have questions. I got questions this episode. I got questions. Okay. So it's a 35-minute episode. I'll just short it. So they're all about 30 minutes. Basically, as we're learning, they're all quick little. It's like a half-hour comedy, basically, is what it is.
Yep.
And so it turns out that that Wong actually forced him Abomination out. Well, forced Emil to become the Abomination out because he needed somebody to spar with, basically. And I love that's her whole thing. It's not a cameo per week thing. Or maybe it is. And that was cutesy. I did that was cute. But Wong he's the sorcerer supreme. I guess he's into libraries or whatever. I don't know if it's something either.
He worked at Target for 9 years, according to his LinkedIn page. 9 years as like a sales associate, which I love.
They sell books at Target.
Yeah.
So they sell books. So he did break him out. He come. I guess that's the way he comes into he has a circle thing. He comes in that way. Apparently, that's how that works. That's all that works.
That is, yeah. That's they use their rings to summon their portals. Their sling rings. I will just ask though, as you're breaking this down, does anybody really buy that story though from Wong?
No, of course not.
That he forced him. I don't know. At least because it ties into the Shang-Chi movie.
Yeah.
And so if you're watching that, those scenes, at least of them, seem to establish a little bit more of a friendlier relationship between the two.
Yeah. Yeah.
Than his cover story or his professed story seems to indicate.
They don't match well as opposed to the Shang-Chi movie and his explanation.
It didn't seem like that to me. I was waiting for that moment, like a Wong Emil scene, to really like, this is what the deal was.
That's right.
We never got that.
That's true.
Unless Emil comes back later in the season.
Yeah, which I'm fine with. Hey, why not?
Yeah, me too. Tim Roth is great. He's fine.
Yeah,
I'm with him. But I got some questions. They mentioned something about mind erasing. He said he won't do that this time. And he mentions the mirror dimension, the shadow dimension. I'm feeling everything obviously means something.
Like the mirror one, if you saw Spider-Man No Way Home, the last Spider-Man film, Peter Parker and Doctor Strange, they fought in the mirror dimension.
Okay.
For a little bit there.
Okay. What's the shadow dimension? You mentioned that too.
You know, it's a dimension of shadows, James.
It's that simple. I know. Okay, that's simple. Okay, I that was something more complicated. Okay, well there you go.
I mean, Wong's world with all the different dimensions is very complicated. It's in that Doctor Strange world.
So he's in Doctor Strange then. I never seen any of those movies either. So he's in Doctor Strange and all that.
Mainly, right? I would say.
Yeah, I mean, he popped up in Avengers, Endgame, and Infinity War too.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, James. Yeah, you might like the Doctor Strange movies, James.
Oh, seriously, you think? Because it's what's his name? It looks weird. Like
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah, it's like an ant. Okay, it's weird looking. But I mean, I know there was the multiverse of the last one, right? So I was like,
yeah,
I don't know how they would do all that. So okay, I know. But anyway, so they go back. Okay, so before that, though, the other kind of subplot that's being established is that she's now a star, in the sense of like everyday TMZ, regular news around the world. Now, is Gideon Wilson somebody for real? Was he somebody from? They said he originally put away Abomination. Was he from the movies?
I have to check on that. Because we never saw Abomination go to jail or anything like that. All was that in the Hulk movie, he got beaten up by the Hulk, and that was the last you saw of him. So him getting incarcerated and the trial and all that stuff, we've never seen on air.
Hayward says, James, the episode gave fans service to the hardcore MCU fans. Do you agree with that, Frank?
Yeah, if you bring in all these little disparate elements in there, certainly it's. I would agree with that. And plus, by the end of it, you get some other nods to some other Marvel villains that you've never really seen before on screen. So, in a much more bargain basement version, but they were there.
So Holloway calls in Jen, and it's good old Dennis, good old misogenic Dennis, and Pug, which is the Pug, whatever his last name is real, is there. For 1 second, Hamilton fans know who she is. Want to Live fans know who she is. For 1 second, they bring in somebody named Malloy, this beautiful black woman with beautiful breasts or whatever. For just 1 second, literally, they jump on her good. He goes, I can't handle girls at 10. I can't, whatever. And she's over. That's Renee Elise Goldsberry, Tony winner for Hamilton. Just for 1 second, I was like, that was weird. So he goes, I can't talk to her because she's a 10. Blah blah. She goes, okay, glad not to be in it. And she walks out. I'm like, that was it. That's it.
That was weird. That was weird because she's supposed to be She-Hulk's like one of her arch enemies as a lawyer, I believe. But yeah, it was such a quick cameo. I thought it was just they put somebody in there. Like I tried to look up, like, is that somebody famous that I need to know? But then that was why. But it was so quick. I thought we were gonna establish her character, see more in the episode.
Right.
That was it.
Homegirl got paid.
Yeah.
Show up. Seriously. Show up for like, what was that? 2 minutes?
Yeah.
Like an under 5 person. She literally said under 5 words, basically. She said a few words. That was it. And then she just like smiled. She looked beautiful. And she smiled and just went bye-bye. And that was it. Yeah, I don't want to live too. She was good. But I'm a Hamilton freak. I saw Hamilton 3 times. But it's like that's just weird. So I wasn't the only one thought that was weird. That was just weird. Like she never showed back up again. It's like I'm supposed to shows where they do that. See that again. But you know what? Book Boba Fett. We got Danny Trejo for one scene.
Yeah.
And that was it. Remember, Frank? We never got him again.
No.
Never got him again.
Well, you know, the more you actually bring all these things up, James, this episode was kind of just full of a bunch of cameos, if you think about it. Not only from the MCU, from theater, from music, it was just like, let's throw everybody and anybody in here. Yeah.
At the beginning, it's not just a cameo. That was, to me, that was like a okay.
Stand by for a super hot fact check so far. Gideon Wilson, your boy.
Yes.
At least in the comics, he's Sam Wilson, who's Falcon, his brother. Yes. So,
see, but not I had a feeling everything has something.
Yeah.
But kind of repurposed because he was a pastor in the comics. Here he is a lawyer. So
there you go. So I had a feeling something was going on.
Yeah, to connect him.
Frank would tell us. So Des was defrauded, or supposedly, whatever, because he was dating a shapeshifter. And I thought this was the most random thing on earth. It's super. I love random, but it's super random. He thought he was. I can't get out with a straight face. Thought he was dating Megan Thee Stallion. Now here's what's so funny, kids. I don't know who the fuck that was at first. Before this episode, I just learned about her recently.
Yeah.
I remember. I guess that song "WAP" last year was a big hit or whatever. I can't get into all that. But she has a song called "Her" that's out right now. I just found out 2 days ago. I play it every day, everybody. It's my song. Her. That's all I'm saying. I love it. But I didn't know who the F she was. But to have her in this episode is like Megan Thee Stallion. Of all people in the world to choose, that to me is hilarious. That part was hilarious to me, guys.
Yeah.
Frank, do you know who she was before this episode?
I did. But yeah, if you were to tell me to like sing a lyric of any of her songs, I would be unable to do so. So she's like, I know of her, but not the music that she sings. Until we saw like at the end, and then I was like, oh, that's hers. Oh, okay, I know that song.
That's who that is. Yeah.
You said Body Yaddy. I was like, that's her too.
Yes.
I know that's part too because of TikTok. It's like it's on every TikTok. So
that's
yeah,
right. Yes.
Yeah, it is. I'm like an old person. I'm like, who fuck Megan Thee Stallion? I'm like, is that? I'm getting Cardi B. Who are those people? They're all mixed up to me. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. I kind of liked it because I mean, one, it's a surprise on how we were going to see Pug again. I was expecting them to meet in the courtroom. Or kind of Jen and him opposing sides. So this definitely switched up on how I was going to see him again. So, fine there. But the overall case itself, I did like because it really sold what the show could be about. The craziness of the universe with a shape-shifting, Asgardian elf. I was like, yes, this is great. Yes, in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, these are things that people would have to deal with, and who would they get to represent them to help them with their legal troubles?
Frank, they want you to sing "I'm a Savage," classy, bougie.
That's her. All right.
That's her too, apparently.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen that plenty of times on Fortnite in the emotes. Emotes, everybody. You can emote with that song and dance moves. So there you go.
In Fortnite. Yeah, Frank's not gonna sing WAP. He's not gonna sing WAP. He doesn't have a WAP. None of us on this panel have a WAP. So but very random. But does this date this episode then later? I wonder, because when you get somebody big like an Elton John or Madonna, that's something different. They're like timeless people. But will this date this later on? It's like Megan, you're like, remember when she was big?
Well, that's up to Megan, isn't it?
Yeah. So James, you're saying that Megan Thee Stallion will not reach the Madonna, Elton John heights?
How dare you?
What a critical judgment you've made here.
I'll say this. When Nicki Minaj came out, I was like, okay, she's cute for a minute. But she's been around like 12 years. So I'm like, so you're right. Maybe Megan Thee Stallion, which I still don't know what her name means, will be something in 15, 20 years.
Well, I mean, what do you think of like Queen Latifah?
That would be a good one.
So, I mean, she could be the next Queen Latifah.
She could. You're right. You are. She could be next Salt and Pepper. She could be all those people. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah. I mean,
it goes not Salt and Pepper.
Man, I love them. But yeah, what have they done for me lately? I did see him on Celebrity Family Feud a few weeks back. So I feel like that's not really a good sign of things going well for them.
I have a question on this episode to you guys. Do you think they brought in a lot of these people, not only for the MCU universe, but someone from Hamilton, a hip hop star, to capture people to come into this, like to kind of get more people to watch this show that might not have watched it before? That's not just like a comic book, show.
I don't know. I mean, I agree with James. I mean, I feel like the hook of this particular episode was, hey, we're telling you it's not a cameo episode, but we're going to throw a bunch of cameos at you. That's the joke.
That's the joke. Yeah, that's the joke. Yeah, that's the joke. Yes.
Yeah. So, for that, I'd be like, all right, then yes, you want to open up the floodgates for as many cameos as you can get in this episode. I don't know because I don't feel like I need that for the rest of the series, I think. But if you're setting up the joke for one episode, then heck yeah, let's throw them all in.
Yeah.
That's true. I think I'm gonna go for that one too. I think this was more like, I think part of the whole thing was all these cameos. That kind of makes sense. That makes sense. I think so. Yes, I think so. Okay, the shapeshifter, I kind of liked her. She was funny because it was funny when she first was like, I changed my mind. I don't want to do anything. I was like, that was kind of fast. And then with the judge too, that was hilarious. There was a guy like, and then they're like, oh my, that part was funny. That part I did really enjoy that.
Well, what I like about it is because she's a shapeshifter, but she's not really that great at it.
Yeah.
But in terms of like people's demeanor, she's like, nah, whatever,
Yes.
Which is like, because you're thinking, if you're an Asgardian elf, are you really going to care about what people on Earth are thinking? Like, no. Like, I do what I want. I'm an Asgardian elf.
That's true, right? That's true. It was kind of funny.
Well, after she did it a few times, I didn't know who was who at a certain point. I was like, wait, could this be? Like I was like, at one point when they were actually the actual trial inside the prison, and I was like, wait, could all of the witnesses? But then she was at the other trial, so I was like, oh, okay, she's not because I thought someone could be helping Abominable do all these other witnesses that were like, oh, he was reformed and everything. Could this be Rune? But because I just seen it so many times, now you're kind of on this like, the rug's been pulled away from you. So
that's true. Because you were figuring like, is it a Seinfeld thing at the end where it all ties back into itself? And like, oh. And the shapeshifter, played her part in this all along.
Duan. So Duan says she's probably a Skrull. Here's what's funny. I actually know something. I know something, you guys. I know something. Okay.
What?
Okay. My friend Lori Livingston played a Skrull in one of the Marvel films and then showed up on WandaVision.
As a Skrull?
As a Skrull.
Awesome.
So she's one of the few Skrulls that was in a movie and on television, apparently. So she's going to show up in another one, I said, at some point. So I know the Skrull because of her.
Well, she may be in Secret Invasion then, because that's all going to be all about Skrulls.
Right. So I thought I'm just saying. And she's a black woman. So she's light-skinned black woman, but she was a Skrull. And then so I actually know when you said that. I'm like, I know what that is. I don't want to know what it is.
I know these words you're saying.
I know these words you're saying. I get it. So the funny part is we're actually getting a lot of Dennis's. So actually a lot of Dennis's story and kind of arc in this episode, I wish Jen had at some level. It's like Frank said, it gave us I almost wish it was like her against. I just wish she had to really defend him. Like she had to defend him on some level. Because it was we got to see him be this kind of guy who thinks he's all that, but then deep down he knows he's not all that. And he got duped by this chick. And like when Jen came later, when they had her come back, which I thought was kind of brilliant, to have her come in and talk about how crappy he is, how self-centered he is, that yes, he would believe it's Megan Thee Stallion. So I was like, but we got some shades of like character out of him. I was like, okay. So for me, I was like, that was very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it will matter more to me if we see him again. If he's still basically just the guy, where it's like in a lot of sitcoms, everybody has that kind of moment of like self-realization,
yes.
And then we watch them next week and they've kind of reverted back to type because that's what the show requires that character to be.
Right. Yeah, I know. But I just thought that you're right, that whole sequence, if it had been, we got Pug, we got his story too, kind of him having to handle this. It was like, it was very, I thought it was very cool. That part was very cool. I thought there is something there. There's potential there. Because it's attorney at law. That's the show. It's about law stuff. So I kind of like that. And all that. But they told the shapeshifter she has to basically wear some kind of device so she can't shapeshift indefinitely or whatever. I think that's kind of funny.
Yeah.
That's it.
I mean, I did like her attempt to do Thor's speech and the judge shutting that down.
Yes.
You know, so which I just like is another touch where it's like, yes, people, even regular people are dialed into these bits and pieces of the Marvel universe.
Which is like, Thor's speech won't work here. I was like, yes. So okay, so that was that storyline. Back to the whole thing with Wong and them. So Emil's on trial. I keep calling it very Silence of the Lambsy, his whole setup.
Yeah.
So you have to answer me this. So yes, 8 soulmates. Does that mean something, or is that a play on serial killers having people who are in love with them? Is there some kind of Charles Manson thing?
Yeah, I mean, I think Anthony, you tell me if I'm wrong, but I mean, I felt like it was just the pen pals. He's got like a lot of women that are into him, and he's gonna just use their money to just live comfortably.
Oh, I mean, that's pretty obvious. Especially, I love that they were all dressed in like the same gown with the flowers.
Yeah,
and it was very like cult-ish, like they're just waiting for him, So, he had no intention to. I mean, this is his way to look like he's reformed. You know what I mean? They're just painting the tableau for the whole trial.
Okay, tableau, using a big word.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like,
tableau.
Wow.
Keep that tableau.
I don't know, 50-cent word there tonight. You get the bell for that one. Where's my bell?
Oh,
there you go. Bell for that one.
Is it a good bell?
It's the bell. The bell comes out every once in a while. All right. And the council of people who had to they were not the traditional stuffy council either. They were like very much like real people. I thought those were interesting too.
True, I agree, because I like especially the lead guy.
Yeah,
like, this isn't going to take long. I mean, he escaped. So what are we even doing here?
I did laugh when he said that. He's like, "Oh, it's gonna take." He's like, and the black chick next to him too. They were kind of like doing whatever. He's like, "Yeah, it's not gonna take long." I was like, "Okay." They weren't the stuffy. Because a lot of these shows, stuff usually the caricature of just like the stuffy. We don't know who they are. People who have to make a judgment or whatever. Like, but they actually had like kind of like lives. I felt like it. It's a little different. So, but she has to give his case, and Wong is late. Is there a reason why Wong's late? Does that mean something? I'm sorry, it's not just being in everything. I feel like, or just he just looks late.
Well, he's in different time periods. He's jumping through all these portals all the time. So I don't know. I'm back to Frank would probably know this, but like I feel like with his what we've seen in all the different MCU stuff with him, it's been like he's with Doctor Strange, he's with Shang-Chi, he's with everybody at different time periods in different planes. So I was thinking, how does he ever on time for anything? Because that's kind of because he's not. I mean, how do you put that on your schedule to be at this in this place at this time?
Schedule.
Yeah, it's like where's the schedule is that?
It's 9:00 on Earth 5. It's 10.
Mm-hmm. And he's working. He was a Target guy, so I mean, and a librarian. I mean, he's in a lot of things. He's a multitasking.
You like the Target worker? You're picturing him in the red shirt and
that should have been the after credits. Just walking around, just Wong aisle 3. There's a cleanup.
He's buy our marketplace coffee. It's 6.99.
Yeah.
But he shows up late. But first, they're like, okay, but what the whatever on everything. So, but he does show up. He does his thing. He is a sorcerer supreme. And then, but they ask the big question. If we let you, you become the abomination, aren't you dangerous? So it becomes the abomination. And then he's back to where he was. So I guess he can control it, I guess. You guys know him more better than I do. So I mean,
well, that was interesting too, because it was just almost like a reincorporation of that scene we saw with Jen turning into She-Hulk and controlling it. Is that same kind of feel when he grabs his Crocs and he puts them down, he puts the blanket in. It was kind of funny to watch these the Abominable be so in control and be so human in this weird form, you know? And it reminded me of that first scene, or that part in the first episode when she shows Bruce that she can handle it. You know, it was like it seemed very, very similar to that scene.
Yeah, because in the comics, he still keeps his intelligence, but he's the Abomination full time. He can't change back into human. So,
oh, is that true?
Yeah, so that's his deal. He's just always Abomination in the comics. Oh. So this one, they kind of went the same route as She-Hulk, where you can kind of shift back and forth. So you can see, at least from the first Hulk movie where he shows up, I mean, he still has his intelligence because he is talking more so than the Hulk does in that movie. But I could buy that in terms of, you know, between then and now, he had spent that time kind of meditating, as he said, and getting a better connection, like Bruce did with the Hulk, to have a better better relationship when he shifts. But
Sorcerer Supreme, like Doctor, could be anywhere in time and space.
Yeah, I mean, you're guarding all known universes and dimensions from any kind of magical threats. James, that's hard work, man.
I'm just trying to hold on to one time zone. So I don't know anybody else's time traveling. I
can't. James, the JLJ media empire, what you run with, you're kind of like Wong. You kind of are like the real living Wong. I mean, let's be honest. Let me should know this better than anyone else.
Let me tell you something, guys. Today, my latest book came out. It's called Second Wife, New Stepmother, released today on Amazon Kindle and regular. Meanwhile, I have 3 songs out, one with Anthony, one with Flobo, and one with Caesar, all on any streaming audio service you can get to, plus all my audio dramas, all my shows with these people, and everything.
Is that book in the adult erotica section, James?
Frank, you know what's really interesting about this? Keep this in mind. Like he is kind of like Wong. Look in the back of his room. It kind of looks like a portal.
That's true.
Right there.
Was your plan all along? You're telling us something, James.
I'll see you guys on Sunday. Bye. All of a sudden I'm like, bye. I go that way. Come on, Frank, close it out.
Like I always wondered how you do all these things all at once, or like I'm writing a song and a show and I'm doing this. I'm like, how did you do 3 YouTube live streams at the same time?
I do it all. Maybe I am Wong. Maybe I am Wong. That's right. They're laughing in the chat room. Yes, I do. I am an anomaly, as they say. Anomaly. That's what they say. I am.
Yeah. For me, this whole sequence goes back into what I said at the beginning, where I wanted the writing to be better for this. I just felt it just didn't show Jen in the best light that I thought of. I mean, for her to be so insecure, or like, she was like, oh Jesus, this is gonna happen. Is one gonna do it? I wanted her to be more in control. Like, hey, yes, I'm an awesome lawyer. I wanted to see that in action. So I don't know. I was kind of bummed by this sequence.
Yeah. Oh, my private. Thank you, Haywood. My private Zoom on Saturday. Haywood, you should come. Haywood, it's only $20. All right. So Jen does. The Abomination gets released. So I feel like I'm not done with him yet. Dennis wins his case. I don't think we're done with him yet either. And Jen does this weird piece of it. It gives a piece of interview. But I want to bring something up because, folks, people have been getting upset. Mostly men, of course. But get upset because even in the beginning, when they have that whole sequence of always coming at her, they mention about her being a woman.
She's many.
Being a woman. They mention all that. And then all this women stuff. They just say it's too woke, it's too this, it's too that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's too woke or anything. It's just it's a female show and they're talking about female stuff. I think the episode addresses that a little bit. It's like, is she too woke? Is too this, Me Too, and all that kind of stuff. Is too Me Too. I don't know. You guys, I don't know, it doesn't bother me.
No. Anthony, does it bother you?
No, I always thought it was like, I wondered if I talked about this when I was watching it. I was thinking like, I wonder if some of these were real, like some of the things they pulled were from, you know what I mean? Like, were these ones that people were talking about how this show was like, and they just pulled it in as like a joke on them? Like, here's you, here, take a look at yourself, kind of thing. So I don't
Oh,
know.
you're working Haywood.
Nope.
Oh, Haywood's last name is Wong. How funny is that?
Nice.
No, I am Wong. Oh no,
Did you work at Target?
You work at Target, Haywood.
Were you a librarian?
And Cherie, hello. So that's all that. But we're not done. This is where I think the Thunderbolts thing comes in, because 4 guys with light up in their heads or whatever try to attack her. And they tried to stab her on some level. It didn't work. And they said the boss would be upset. So is that part of that, you guys?
Yeah, I mean, that's the Wrecking Crew. That's which are great in the comics. This is really the bargain basement version of these guys. I mean, you've got Bulldozer, Pile Driver, the Wrecker, who's the leader, and Thunderball. I think that might be the last one. But anyway, the deal is that they, through Asgardian magic, they can whip a lot of ass, as they say. So usually they start off as Thor villains, and then are kind of sprinkled around all around the Marvel universe.
Oh, so these are Thor villains.
Yeah.
Oh.
Ryan Nielsen. Okay, so Ryan Nielsen, my co-host of Mandalorian Season 2, is also a person who works behind the scenes on this series. So hello, Ryan.
Look at him.
All right.
And let's not forget how handsome he is.
Oh, Ryan's like the most handsome on the planet. But Ryan's too big for us now. But Ryan, I would love for you to come on the show sometime and give us some behind the scenes. Even just for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, Ryan.
Come on, Ryan.
Come on.
Get on here.
We actually know somebody from the show. Give us a little something. But we love Ryan, so congratulations to you. Yeah, at Rye Guy from After. He's another AfterBuzzer. All of us AfterBuzzers. We're everywhere. We're everywhere, bitches.
Wait, Frank,
so
who's the boss?
That I don't know. I mean,
okay.
Initially I was thinking it could be the Power Broker, which is another old school Marvel villain whose idea was there was a wrestling league that they would supercharge their people to be like superhuman wrestlers.
Mm-hmm.
So that's somebody that would imbue people with powers. Mm-hmm. So I was thinking that could be the hook. He was located on the West Coast, so that's my one thought that it might be. I guess we'll find out. I mean, the Wrecking Crew in the comics looks way cooler than they do in this episode.
The bargain basement.
Yes, but I only hope it's like this is the first time we're seeing them, and as we watch their evolution, maybe they, like with a lot of Marvel things, they kind of work their way up to looking like the version that you may be more familiar with in the comics.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an interesting idea because the idea of the Hulk's blood can make somebody, give them Hulk-like abilities.
Yeah.
But of course, the catch is not everybody's going to be Jen Walters to Bruce Banner.
True.
There's going to be a lot of potential bad Hulks coming out of that.
Oh, well, naughty Hulks.
Naughty Hulks. Mm.
Well, the one thing I really liked about the ending, though, that kind of got it all back for me was like after the trials, I was like, well, where do we go from here? Like, what happens now? It felt like, I don't know, it's flat. And then when that happened, when she gets like assaulted, I'm like, oh, here we go. Okay, set it up for 4, and that really kind of made it more exciting for what's happening next for her, because now she's going to have to do some superhero stuff. It's almost like it's going to balance between lawyer stuff and then superhero stuff, because this was no superhero stuff.
There's a question for you, Frank. Sharon Carter is the Power Broker, right?
Well, no, Sharon Carter is from Captain America. There's another Sharon Carter who was a Miss Marvel, who then became a she thing, who as well. So yes, she was with the Fantastic Four for a little bit. She was dating the Thing. So.
I see now what they're saying. I'm like,
there you go. So at least originally the Power Broker was a man. So we'll see what the deal is. And if at all, Titania ties back into that as well too.
Oh right, okay, yeah. Again, they showed her for 2 seconds in the first. Now we brought her back. They showed her in the pre stuff. I'm like, are they gonna bring her back?
Oh, they are. They
have to, right? They have to. Yeah.
Like this, I feel like the big hook of this series seems to be Jen reconciling her Jennifer Walters side and her She-Hulk side, because we still see her right now still kind of like, I just want to be done with this and just go back to being a plain old boring lawyer, and not really realizing that or accepting that her life is going to be different no matter what. and she just needs to accept that and just kind of deal with that new situation instead of lamenting like, oh, I just want to go back to how it used to be.
Yeah.
And that last interview was with my friend Bobby D from Fox LA's Good Day LA, Fox TV. I was happy to see him on screen. He was the last interviewer.
Oh, about her
He's
weight
been
loss
around
tips?
for a long time. He's been around for a long time, but he is part of. You can watch him every morning on Channel 9 or Channel 11. Sorry, Channel 11, Fox Good Day LA. I think that's one day. So now to the comic stuff, the comic strip stuff. What's all that stuff, folks? Anything we need to know about? Anything?
I just know that the dancing part was because Tatiana is a big fan of Megan Thee Stallion, so it was like her chance to kind of just fan out, you know. So I think they just kind of put that there at the end. I know that's one thing I knew about, but
them twerking and now becoming a lawyer, I'm like, okay, that's okay.
Okay, whatever.
I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that TV show appearance at the end. That was another moment where I was hoping it would have a little bit of gravitas.
Exactly.
Before going out. If you want to still go out on that comedic little beat, great.
Yes,
but
I
feel
agree.
like it still lacked a little substance to me.
I agree. I totally agree. Still my friend's on there. I'm glad he's on there. But no, I agree. That's what he could have done. He didn't do that. As I said, kept missing. Like you said, Frank, the elements were all there. They were there. I just kind of, it was kind of missing. I can handle. I like a comedy, so like I said, I enjoyed the episode. They're very easy to watch. They're very easy to deal with. They're very easy to handle. They're fun. You leave smiling. I mean, they're smiling. But I was just like, there's something. I don't know. There's something missing. But I did like it, so I'm hoping maybe episode 4 on maybe something. You know, it was there's an episode, right? This was kind of like, yeah, it's the episode. It's it is what it is, right?
Well, James, just to kind of go on with this point, and you guys can disagree with me on this one or not, but like, I think
the show's over now. I think everybody's moving on. It was
that's it. That's all. I got this 30-minute speech. No. I mean, like really, really good stuff. Like, I think with everything in the first 2 episodes, there's always like in any sort of like scary movie or comedy, there's a basis of like a fundamental base, regular. And then it turns into something funny or scary, and that's what keeps it. And it's hard to build funny off of funny because we don't know what the normal is. And I felt like this episode kind of built silly on top of silly on top of silly. So I never felt like if there was that, like, there's this balance. And like back to the part you're talking about, Frank, with the trial, if this would be her big moment to seize that moment of like, yeah, I'm really a lawyer that doesn't have to be She-Hulk and I have these skills, that would have kind of put us back into this kind of fundamental or foundation, and then we can go off to silly again. I felt sometimes it was silly on top of silly, and it never kind of just grounded itself.
That's how I felt this episode too. It was silly, which is fine. But you're right. The first episode, we had a little bit of a balance, kind of like, oh, okay. But maybe what Frank did say, like they were setting stuff up.
Yeah.
So I'm curious. Like, right? Is this, Anthony, now the norm? Like, will this be the level it is until I'm sure the finale probably would have some more serious stuff in it a little bit. But I don't know. But I'm just the next couple episodes, I wonder.
Well, what's also interesting too is like there's so many people have jumped in this episode. It makes you wonder where they're going to go. I mean, we mentioned so many different possibilities this can go. You know, whether it's with Wong, Bruce, Titania, the Wrecking Crew, right? I mean, there's just so many different people that have interspersed into this series. We don't know where it's going to go, and it's like they're keeping it open for everything and anything to happen.
True, because I mean, part of me was thinking like, typically you would think like you'd have one overarching big story in the sense where the Emil Blonsky thing is not just a 2-episode thing and done. It is that's going to be like the through line throughout the course of the season, and then every other episode. We still see her working on other stuff in the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
As she's getting ready to prepare for the big Emil Blonsky thing at the end of the season. That's what I was like thinking it might be. But now that it's wrapped up in 2 episodes, I'm sure there's plenty of other legal things to happen in the Marvel universe, which, but so I guess we should just be more accustomed to, kind of done in 1 or done in 2 stories with at least this subplot of whoever wants her powers maybe being the thing that goes throughout the rest of the season.
Yeah.
They're mentioning Matt Murdock.
The Daredevil, right? Yeah, there's Haywood said that. I was like, I like that because that's kind of waiting still there, kind of dangling, right? So
a dangling participle. I don't know. I said,
grammar guy.
For me, it's very interesting just watching this as a lay person because I don't know any of this stuff. So I just like to ask you guys, get to learn all that between my brother here at home, you guys here get to learn all this stuff. So I'm watching it. And like I said, I like her because I love Tatiana's line. I like her. I like her assistant. I like the girl plays her assistant. I mean, everybody's likable to me that's on the show, man. There's nobody I'm like, oh my God. I mean, the Dennis guy could get very wearing, but he's not on all the time. So it's not like he's bothersome.
Yeah.
They're mentioning the next big bad guy is Kang.
But true, in the movies he is, for sure. So I'm sure we'll see She-Hulk mixing up with the Avengers in those films when it to 2026.
Well, they mentioned on the show when the reporters goes, was it true? There was the rumor you were not picked for the Avengers or something. She said like you were kicked out or not picked or something.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that hasn't happened yet in the comics or in the TV show. I mean, in the comics, she was part of the Avengers. So
okay, I'm sure.
You know what's kind of interesting about like if with having Matt Murdock in this series, I'm curious. Like what makes it so curious, like interesting to me about this is that in his series Daredevil, it's pretty intense and it's pretty dark and it's very heavy. And how he enters this funny world, I wonder how he's going to be portrayed along with the whole She-Hulk character, since it's kind of a funny comedy, like a lighter version. So I wonder, will that take a serious turn or will it be funny?
Yeah, it wasn't because in the comics they had for the longest time Daredevil was more that Frank Miller kind of dark and gritty kind of mindset.
Yeah,
and then Mark Waid took over writing the series, and there was a period in the time before Frank Miller did it where Daredevil was considered more like a swashbuckling type of hero.
Really?
A little more upbeat, more devil may care, so to speak.
Okay.
And so that hadn't been something that had been seen for a while. So when Mark Waid took it over, he's like, I just want to go back to that, and I'm not going to do a big thing. It's just Daredevil has decided, hey, I'm going to take it easy now and just be a little bit more upbeat and a little positive. So not that everybody around him, everybody's like, are you okay? Because you're really just acting like really just kind of chill and cool now.
Mm-hmm.
So even at first, at least everybody's like, yeah, all right. But so they could do something like that with when we see Daredevil here, where it's like, yeah, I've made a choice to be just more, upbeat, and people could still be kind of put off by that because it's not the Daredevil they're used to.
Interesting.
I actually, somebody said something here. I was going to say something. Let's see. Did I lose it? Yeah, I lost it.
But I bet it was good.
I'm sure it was something
whatever
great.
That was. It was genius.
It was phenomenal.
The way you built it up, I know it was good. That's all I need to know.
No, but it's all interesting. So this is interesting. So I don't know. They're asking for more X-Men in the chat room, all that kind of stuff. We talked this last time. There's all kind of stuff, I guess, coming. But to this show, I'm very curious what the next 6 episodes bring us. I mean, I'm just kind of curious.
Yeah,
that's what they do.
I don't know. I mean, for me, this is I'm enjoying the show tremendously, but this I think is the first Marvel series where I've also it just always in the back of my head, I'm just thinking budget more often than not, because just as we've talked about before, the Jennifer Walters She-Hulk kind of split, where it's just like coming up with reasons why she's just Jennifer Walters and then why she can be She-Hulk. She's never just She-Hulk all the time, but is that because it's too expensive?
Okay.
So we come up with a reason that she's got to be Jennifer Walters in the trial with Emil Blonsky, so I'm just so used to her always being Jennifer Walters or being She-Hulk. So this is definitely going back more into like a split type of role of She-Hulk, which has not been her usual thing. So I could be completely off base at all of that. It is just a choice that people made in the writers' room.
I believe you, Frank, though. I believe you. I don't know what the fuck's going on. I believe you. I just believe what you're saying.
So what Frank says, don't get used to She-Hulk because they don't got the money for that.
Right, exactly.
It's all going to be Jen Walters from here, guys. So
and yes, folks. Yes, folks. Frank also works for Marvel, and he does have an X-Men show coming out, right? X-Men 97.
That's true. Yeah, be coming out, sometime next year, probably later next year.
Everybody in the show was like, what? There is. Oh, now I remember what it was. You mentioned Frank Miller. Is that Sin City, Frank Miller?
Sin City,
That
Frank
is
City.
it.
And 300.
I know, yes. I loved Sin City. Was the first one, or was like one? There's something came out afterwards I didn't care for it. But first,
James, what about 300? Did you like 300?
I like 300. I like 300 a lot. I did. I like his style. I like the style. But there's something else he came out with I didn't like it. It came out after these. I didn't like it.
There's the Spirit movie that came out too that he did.
Yeah, somebody didn't like.
I just saw that thing last night. It had like who was the main star for that? Was Bruce Willis in that?
Sin City?
No, it's The Spirit.
Oh, that was the guy from Suits, Gabriel Macht.
Yeah.
And Sam Jackson was the bad guy, the octopus.
That's what it was. Yeah. Well, because it was in that style.
No, you mean Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I get a little chummy with him because we're both Marvel people.
Yeah, no, Samuel L.
My buddy Sammy.
And don't call Lawrence Fishburne. Just don't call him Lawrence Fishburne. You can check that out on YouTube. Don't call him Lawrence Fishburne. He did not like that.
Yikes.
Yes, Gabriel Macht. The T is not silent. Yes. I guess okay, guys. We're not talking TC in here. This is a Marvel show. Okay.
So how about that Superman, right?
Yeah, we're not doing all that. All Marvel all the time on this show. Yeah. Anyway, that's it, kids. And then we already talked long enough about this show. There's nothing else to talk about. We'll be back in next week. We're here every Thursday night at 8 p.m. You guys. We are here every Thursday, 8 p.m. Even though it's 100,000 degrees in my house, I have not passed out. I'm about to. I made it. This is my co-host and Anthony Tupazzi. Tell them what's going on for you.
You can find my video stuff on YouTube at Nerd Java. That's my games, movies, TV website that I do with a bunch of other hosts, and just Anthony Tupasi on Instagram, pretty much.
Okay, he leaves up the big lead. So he has a new song out called "Nature Is."
Besides that, yeah.
And his new video comes out tomorrow for the song on YouTube. JLJ Media.
A
music video, nice.
I'll promote you. John couldn't make it. He's still talking. I'm looking down. He's still talking Big Brother. They're still on right now. They're talking Big Brother. I can see it right below my thing. It says episode 133, jury duty. They're live still. So they're talking about it, Frank. They're talking about because once we get off of here, folks, I'm leaving these bitches. I'm going to watch Big Brother.
There you go.
But Frank Moran, my work husband of 7 years. Where can I find you?
We're still keeping the magic alive, James. Find me on Twitter and Instagram at Happy Go Jackie.
By the way, Happy Go Jackie Instagram, love it. It's food, it's guests, it's good. It's a good stuff. I love it.
Oh, it's very kind of you. I gotta step up my soul. I was very active, and then I've dialed it back, and so now I need to re-up my social media game. I'm no James Lott Jr. I'll tell you that.
Who can be the real Wong?
I'm the real Wong. I didn't realize that. But Frank, more donut pictures. I have one right here. I have a donut. It's a jelly donut. It's from Krispy Kreme. I got it this morning. I'm about to eat it.
I love it. I tell you, they opened up a Randy's Donuts nearby. Oh man!
Oh, did you guys? Oh, good. Oh, good. Yes.
Oh man!
I'm near the original one in Inglewood. It's the bomb. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we only get an inflatable donut that they put outside. We don't get a real giant
inflatable one. So. As Inglewood's the original. And so am I. I'm James Lott Jr. You can follow me. We're all James Lott Jr.'s are sold at James Lott Jr. and all social media platforms. And I got that phrase from Alexis Torres. I want to give a little shout out to her. I was thinking about her the other day. Frank knows who she is too. But she let me have that saying because she used to say it all the time. So she let me steal it, Frank. That's where I got it from.
It's and you've used it shamelessly since.
Shamelessly, but I love Alexis. So she's back in Pennsylvania. So good. I will shout out to her. Ryan Nielsen, thanks for stopping through here. Much more success for you too. We do like the show. We just you have to critique it, of course. And you can follow all my stuff at James Lott Jr. everywhere, including TikTok. Yes, I put out TikTok videos every day of the weirdest. The latest video I put out was of a bad corn dog. So check that one out. Comment. We'll see you guys.